Greetings, and welcome to episode 14 of I Hate Mondays, a true crimes podcast. I am Michael, and I'm joined with
Anne-Marie.
And we would like to thank everyone for listening to the previous episode.
I hope you like it. It was different than what we usually do. It was more silly, but we just felt like since it was a holiday, we could just take it easy. And in 2 weeks, the next episode, we're going on vacation. But you guys will still get an episode, but it's going to be a light one again.
It's going to be from the book.
The stupid criminals.
Yeah.
Which I love. I love it.
So this week it's Anne-Marie.
Yeah. Hi again. And this one I'm going to take you for a long ride. I think it's probably going to be our longest episode yet. When I started digging for this episode, doing the researching, I was like, oh, this is going to be not so long of a case. But then when I really started researching, there was just more and more and more info. So yeah, I hope you guys are ready. I hope you enjoy it. Are you ready, Michael?
I'm ready. My body is ready.
Oh boy. Okay. So, picture this. It's November 2019. Marshal Iwaasa leaves his house, goes to his storage locker, and then he just vanishes. Like, poof. No text, no phone calls, nothing. And then 6 days later, his truck is found completely burned out in the middle of nowhere just out of Pemberton, British Columbia. That's over 1,200 kilometers away from where he was.
Whoa.
Yeah. Before I start telling Marshall's story, I want to say that yes, it is a missing persons case. And I do a lot of missing people's case. But to me, it is very important. Friends and family deserves an answer. They need to know what happened. And most importantly, does someone know something? That's why I do it. What if someone finally says what they know? If someone knows something. So here it is. Marshal Iwaasa's story.
So this guy's Japanese?
I don't know. I guess he has descendants.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't find any information. Okay. So Marshall was born January 3rd, 1993.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. We almost share a birthday. Pretty close. He was born in Lethbridge, Alberta. For those who don't know, it's south of Alberta, south of Calgary, and it's like 1 hour to the USA border.
So it's in one of the corners.
Yeah, it's like near Montana.
Okay.
It's like kind of near BC.
Yeah, it's in that corner.
Yeah. Because, yeah, the Alberta's bottom is like square.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like Saskatchewan, but it has like a little wiggle in the corner.
Yes. Okay. Anyway. But Lethbridge is a pretty small town compared to Calgary, let's say, which is not the biggest city in Canada, but whatever. In an interview, Marshall's sister, Paige, describes him as quiet and reserved and very gentle and kind. This is her words. He was very close to his mom, Tammy Johnson, and especially his sister, Paige Foggin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing any names right. I'm sorry if I don't. They were described by their mom as best friends. Marshall was the one to walk Paige down the aisle when she got married, so that gives you an idea. I don't have any information on the dad. If that's what you're wondering, I didn't find anything. Marshall went to Winston Churchill High School, and he graduated in 2011. When he was younger, he played football and rugby. When he stopped playing, he said it was because he didn't mind being tackled, but he didn't like doing it to others because he didn't want to hurt them. That's how nice he seems to be. He loved the outdoors, like camping with his friends and family. He started working in a grocery store when he was still in high school, and then later he did some manual labor jobs because Alberta has a lot of jobs in oil and gas industry. That's pretty much their
I knew someone in my program. He left for a year to work on the oil sands, and then he came back.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of jobs he was doing. Like, I think he was doing like pylon lines and working on oil fields. After high school, Marshall really got into fitness and bodybuilding, and he made some new friends from that. Knew from the friends he grew up with through elementary school and high school. Because seems that when you live in a smaller town, you have the same friends throughout.
Your whole life?
Yeah, because
Kind of.
there's not like many school. Whereas like in
Yeah.
Montreal, for example, like me, I went to elementary school in one part of town, high school in another part of town, CEGEP, which is like college in the rest of Canada, like in another part of town.
Right.
Same for university, so you can kind of
Yeah, you move around in the city a lot.
so you don't have the same friends all the time. Anyway,
I get you.
so Marshall was living with some friends in Lethbridge, but he decided to do a career change, and he moved to Calgary when he was 25. So like in 2018 to go study IT program software development at the SAIT or SAIT. I don't know how to pronounce it.
So what is it? Oh, you're going to tell me.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. Southern Alberta Institute of Technology. He moved into a basement unit with a family living in the rest of the house. Now, I don't know if that's a common thing like elsewhere than in Alberta, like in the rest of Canada, because it's not super common here in Quebec. Not that I'm aware of. Like there is bachelors. Like let's say you have a duplex and you're also renting the bachelors as an apartment, but like that apartment is like fully independent from the rest of the house.
Oh, I see. So it's closed off to the rest of the house.
Yeah, completely. Here in Montreal, it's like pretty common, and it's like you have your full on unit and you don't share anything with the rest of the house. But I remember when I lived in Calgary, I had some friend who lived in a basement like that. Not like here, like the ones I feel like Marshall was living in is like people have like a house, like a not a duplex, like a full on house, and they like rent out a part of their basement, and there's like they have their own entrance, but there's also like a door connecting the apartment unit to the rest of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So like, because he would do laundry in a shared unit rather than having like his own laundry tank.
Right?
Yeah, and I believe that my friends was the same situation. Like I don't feel like they had their own laundry unit. I feel like they would go into the house to do the laundry, but that's been like 8 years ago, so I don't really remember. But it's just to give you an idea of where he lived.
Right. Well, when I was in Vancouver, I just rented a room from this family. But I mean, I had access to the whole house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's really common here in Quebec, but I feel like it's more common in the rest of Canada. But I could be wrong. Anyway, that's not really important.
That place
here.
costed me $700 a month.
That's expensive for a room.
Yeah, just for a room.
And that was like, what, 12 years ago?
Yeah.
Imagine now.
Anyways, okay.
Yeah, let's go back to our track.
Okay.
Because that's a long one. Okay. So, Paige at some point moved from Alberta to Honolulu in Hawaii. And she would visit her family in Canada every 6 months. And Marshall would go visit her every Christmas. And they would do fun activities. Like, I know they were decorating their own ornaments. So, like, they had some traditions together. And they were, like, pretty close. Okay, so let's go back to 2019. During that summer before his disappearance, Paige saw her brother for the last time when the whole family went for a camping trip in Montana. At some point, Marshall and Paige went to the storage unit they both shared at some point during the summer. It was a mix of her stuff and his books, family items, camping stuff, tools, Christmas ornaments. You see the idea. And before returning to Honolulu, Paige gave some stuff for Marshall to put in the storage unit for her. During that summer, Marshall's family thought he would be going back to the SAIT in September, but he sounded a bit effy about it. He told Paige, and I quote, "In my field, sometimes you don't need like the degree. It's just kind of like who you know and your experience." I guess you can agree with that in the IT land.
Your experience?
Yeah, you don't necessarily need a degree to work in IT.
Yeah, I don't think so. Because it's all out there.
Out in the open, you can learn it on YouTube and stuff. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
how to set up like Windows Server or something. Like it's all out there.
So Marshall didn't say he was not going back to his family. And he kind of eluded the question since they didn't really seem worried about it, and they just felt like if he had something to tell them, they would. But they do felt like he was a little iffy about it. It turns out that Marshall did not go back to school after that fall, but he didn't tell his family, and I'll come back to that. So looking back on it, Paige says that Marshall seemed stressed, but she doesn't know what could have stressed him so much besides school. Okay, so let's go back to the day he was last seen, which was November 17, 2019. Paige says that Marshall would have been cleaning his house and, well, his apartment unit, whatever. And it was pretty clean according to Paige. She went back in the January following his disappearance to clean it. And it was really clean for Marshall, is what she was saying. He also did some laundry. I guess that it's the family who lived with him that noticed that because they shared the unit, as I was saying. Later that night, Marshall drove to Lethbridge to help his mom with a computer problem because his mom still lived in Lethbridge and he was now in Calgary. And also, he wanted to grab some stuff from his storage unit. So he drove his dark blue 2009 GMC Sierra to get there, which is like a 2 hours drive. At 11 p.m., he left, telling his mom he was stopping back to the storage unit to drop some stuff, and that he would go back to Calgary to go to school. But we now know that he was not attending, so it's kind of strange that he would have told that to his mom. Like, from what I understood from watching videos and reading on the family, didn't seem like they were hiding much to each other, and didn't seem that they were lying to each other. So it's kind of odd that he would have said that to his mom. Since it was late, Tammy, his mom, asked why he wouldn't sleep there, but he declined, saying that he had things to do. So his mom told him to stay safe. And she said, and I quote, "I love you, Mash," which is the nickname I guess she gave him. She hugged and kissed him and said goodbye. That is something that I saw in an interview of her on YouTube. And you can see how emotional she is about it. Like this moment, it seriously broke my heart because she's like crying and talking about it, and you just like, I don't even know how it is, how hard it must be if you lose your child like that. Like, you don't know what happened, which is devastating. So yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to say that. Like, honestly, reading this whole story, like, well, for one, it was really interesting because I'll get there, but there's like weird stuff, but mostly it's heartbreaking and it broke my heart. So yeah. Okay, so that was the last time she saw him, but we do have traces of Marshall left to follow after he left his mom's house. So he got to the storage unit around 11:30 p.m. We know that because the family has access to the logs of the code entries at the storage unit. So Marshall enters his code at 11:30. But little did he know the storage unit was closed during the night. And you could not even enter the yard because the gates were closed. It was closed from I think 11 p.m. to 6 a.m.
So this is an outdoor.
No, it's an indoor storage, but there's a big gate around it.
Right, like the one around the corner.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. There's it's usually always like that. There's a big gate.
Right.
You have to enter your code to get past the gate, and then if you want to get to the building, you also have to enter your code. So that way it's pretty secured. Honestly, I thought those things were 24 hours, but I went to check the one that I used to.
The one that you and I used to use?
Yeah, and it's closed during the night. So you can't go. I didn't even know that. Not that I would.
If you live in the Ottawa area, Dyson storage units, I think it's called Dyson.
It's 24 hours?
Yeah. Is it Dyson? Whatever.
I think it's Dyson.
Okay.
I see what you're...
They're 20... I mean, don't quote me. Last time I checked, they were 24 hours.
Okay, anyway. Yeah. So he went all night trying to gain access. A few times during the night. And after a while, it looks like he decided to take a break from trying. And he started again around 3 a.m., which is kind of odd. Because, if it didn't work at 11:30 p.m., how would it work at 3 a.m.? But whatever. He finally gained access after 6 a.m. the next morning.
Jeez, man.
Yeah. And his code was used at 8:24 a.m. to exit the gate because that's the last traces of him for now. It looks like nothing was taken from the storage, not even his camping gear, when the family returned to the storage unit after. Unfortunately, there is no CCTV footage of him at the storage unit.
That's so bizarre.
Because there's no footage of him at the storage unit or him leaving the premises or on the premises, because the footage of that storage unit erases every 7 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And the family, I'll get to the rest of the story, but the family was 2 days late to get the footage. It was erased. So we don't know. Was he alone there? Was he with someone? I'll come back to all the theories later in the episode.
Okay, but hold on. It gets erased, but what does that mean? Does new footage get recorded over it?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
But it holds on. You need a lot of disk space to hold 7 days. So let's say after 7. Okay. I don't know what. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. So for 6 days, there's nothing. We know nothing. Mind you, at this moment, his family doesn't know what is happening. There's nothing until November 23rd, 2019, when a group of hikers discovered a charred pickup truck in the mountains near Pemberton, BC, which is way north of Vancouver, and it's also a 14 hours drive and about 1,200 kilometers away from Lethbridge, Alberta, which is where Marshall was and where we last saw him. That is where his truck was found. Now the twist is that not only is the place where the truck is super far from where Marshall was last seen, it's also super remote. It was by the Brian Waddington Hut, which is a shelter for hikers, which can accommodate as many as 40 people, and you have to reserve online to use it. So let's say you're on a hike, you're doing a long hike. You walked, 30 kilometers that day. You rest there. You go back on your
way.
The rest of the hike. So this shelter is in Felix Creek, which is on the shore of Long Lake, north of Pemberton. The shelter is about 15 to 20 kilometers to the main road. But if you drive, it's a harsh terrain with gravel, mud, boulders. Like it's not.
It's not easy to get there by road, by
No, no,
car.
no. By car, you can't get there. You need a 4-wheel drive vehicle. And his truck, I mean, it was a truck, but was it good to go there? I don't know.
Well, it got there.
Yeah, well, I don't know how. Um, Yeah, so it's not a road you take by accident. And from the trailhead, it takes like 2 to 3 hours to get to the hut. Oh, and moreover, you cannot find the hut on GPS. You just like need to know where you're going. You need to be familiar with the place.
Right.
So it's really, really, really odd that his truck was found there. So James Stark, one of the hikers who found Marshall's truck, said that nobody except him and his group were registered at the hut that day, which is also bizarre. Nobody was there except his group. He also said that, and I quote, it felt like a crime scene and had a very eerie feeling. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it gets weirder. So the hiker took, and I'll show you photos of the.
Right.
And you guys too. I'll put photos up on social media so you can see. There's a lot of photos. Yeah. The place where I found the most photos was on Unsolved Canada. The person did an interview with Paige, the sister, and there's like a bunch of photos. Like yeah. Anyway, so if you want to have more, that's where to look. Okay, so the hikers, when they saw the truck, they took photos of it and of the articles that were scattered around it. Because, yeah, weirdly enough, the truck is completely torched. But there was Marshall's personal items scattered around the truck. Well, we think it's his items.
Stuff.
Yeah. I mean, some stuff like pill bottles identified with his name, but there's like 3 smashed iPhones, lots of clothing, like his green sweater, the one he was last seen wearing, Nick's Xbox, a PlayStation, an expired passport, a cooler, a hammer. Like there was a lot of things.
He brought his PlayStation and Xbox?
Well, I'll get back to that, but we don't know if it's his.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Thing is, and I might mention that later again, but he was traveling a lot for work because he was working like in oil,
the oil
fields
sands
and stuff. So he would travel a lot for work. So I guess he had stuff in his truck.
Oh, maybe that explains it.
The travels?
No, like the Xbox and the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like,
but
he's probably like in a little hut in the oil sands or something, and he wants to keep himself entertained, so he brings those things.
It could be, but we'll get back to that later. The Xbox and the PlayStation. Okay. So after that, the hikers notified the police. But what's weird is there's some articles that were missing from the scene and also from his house. His contact lenses and the contact solution. His backpack, which is a Mountain Hardwear Scrambler 30, is like a specific model. It's not like the most common one. So guys, take a good look if you see a Mountain Hardwear Scrambler 30.
That's a lot to remember.
Yes. Okay. There was his SAIT issued Samsung laptop, his wallet, which is probably a Nixon one, his cell phone, the last one he was using, a pearl colored Samsung Galaxy S6. These articles were never found. It took 2 days for the RCMP to get to the hut, as one of their truck was damaged during their first attempt to get there. So RCMP get there on November 25th. Weirdly, when RCMP got there, some of those items were no longer visible. Like hikers have taken photos of what they saw, and then when the police arrived, stuff was gone or rearranged. I'll post the original photos versus the RCMP, and stuff are circled so you can take a look.
I can't believe it took them that long to get there, but they couldn't take like a helicopter.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, it's a remote place. Like, anyways.
Honestly, this case is really frustrating for many reasons. Yeah. So stuff is rearranged. Stuff is missing. What happened there? Because I just want to say again that it's remote. It's not like by the main road. Like you have to actually go there. So it's not like a place where there's a lot of people passing by.
Mm-hmm.
Another weird thing about the scene is that someone had removed the steering column from the car. Now, that's a thing that you just don't do like this. Like, if you have the right tools and you know what you're doing, it can take like 2 hours, kind of. But you need to know what you're doing. So, like, the whole car is torched. Why is the steering column gone? Let's go back to the PlayStation and the Xbox, because his PlayStation and Xbox were still at his house when they went to the family went back to the house.
Okay.
His PlayStation and Xbox were still there. So was it some other ones he had, or was it someone else's? Now, the family believes it wasn't his, but Michael, I think you can back me up here. But when you're a gamer, you might have a bunch of consoles scattered here and there, especially if you move, right?
If you move?
Like you have some consoles here in Montreal. You have some console at your mom's in Ottawa.
Yeah, but
Like
they're older. They're older consoles.
Well, they didn't look new to me, the ones on the photos. There was like a white one.
A white one? What? Okay, but what PlayStation and what Xbox? Do you know?
No, I don't know, but there's a white Xbox.
There's a white Xbox?
Yeah.
That doesn't really help me.
Okay, well, it's not the most recent one.
It's the 360? What year was this?
2019.
Okay. So, it's probably the Xbox One S. That was white.
You could have some extras that you're going around with or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. We'll get back. We'll come back to that again.
On Xbox and on PlayStation, if you have more than one and you sign into your account, one console has to be the primary console because of licensing of games, right? So, so if the two other ones at his place and wherever he lived are his primary, then these are his secondary. So it needs to be online to access the licenses, if that makes sense.
It does.
And plus, if RCP are allowed, they could verify it if that's his consoles, because on the account it tells you, like, that these are his consoles.
Yes, I'll get to that later. But you know what's the most annoying thing about this case? It is not filed under a criminal investigation. It's just filed as a missing
person.
So they have not done that work.
Oh, they didn't do all the whole account stuff?
Nope.
Interesting.
Yeah. I will say that later again, but there is a petition going on started by the family that you can sign, you guys, to get this case as a criminal investigation. So all these things could be done, and maybe we would know more of what happened. But I'll get back to that. Okay, so at this point, the family doesn't know about the truck. They don't know anything. So it's only on November 26th. That's like 6 days after he disappeared. That's almost 10 days. It's 9 days. Yeah. Okay. It's only on November 26th, which is 9 days after his mom saw him last. She was visiting Paige in Honolulu, and she got the call from RCMP telling her that Marshal's truck has been found and asking her if she knew where he was, which she didn't. One thing is that Marshal had canceled his latest phone plan, so he didn't have a phone plan anymore, but his family didn't know. So at that point, RCMP believed that it was a suicide case. And we'll come back to that later. Because his family didn't believe that. But I'll get back there. So his family immediately started looking for him in Lethbridge, like cousins and family members, trying to figure out what would have been his latest movements. So after leaving Tammy's house, what would have happened? So they started with the storage unit. That's when they got all the information about his movement with the codes, that I was talking about previously. The family also went around to find if there was any recording of him elsewhere, like a dépanneur camera or like a store or whatever. But there was nothing. No one could find him. No one had seen him recently, and nobody understood how his truck was found somewhere Marshall had ever been. As far as the family knows, he has no ties to that place. Okay, so let's dig into the investigation, which is not a criminal investigation. I just want to say it again. So the border between U.S. and Canada was notified of the disappearance. It was verified, and Marshall did not enter U.S. legally. Did he enter it illegally? We don't know. Pawn shops in Canada were checked, and the search had been conducted by a combination of the RCMP in BC, the family, and private investigators hired by the family. So I'm going to go through like a timeline of all the investigation events. So on December 4th, RCMP announced that they had to suspend the search since there was a snowfall. And it was a pretty good snowfall. You can see I saw the photos in a YouTube videos, and it was like I don't know, like a
50 centimeters of snow.
Yeah, something like that. Like the truck was pretty covered, so that was pretty heartbroken for Tammy, the mom, as she was saying in an interview, because since they stopped, she's like nobody's looking for my son right now. At some point, BC RCMP passed over the investigation to the LPS, so Lethbridge Police Service. On January 3rd, 2020, which would be Marshall's 27th birthday, there was a candlelight vigil held at Winston Churchill High School where he
went to school.
Yes. On January 25th and 26th, family, friends helped with Wings of Mercy, who helped with drone search and canine support, conducted a search in Lethbridge out of the Helen Schuler Nature Center. Why there specifically, I don't know. On May 22nd, 2020, the area where the truck was found got searched by cadaver dogs. But the LPS, the Lethbridge Police, told the family the search was completed and nothing was found. In June 2020, there is a police press release, and they say, and I quote, "In examining Iwaasa's personal affairs in the month leading up to his disappearance, including interviews with close friends as well as his financial, medical, and social media activity, there is evidence to suggest he was experiencing stress in his life and had become withdrawn." They also said that there is, and I quote, "no evidence to suggest a criminal offense had been committed, and no evidence to suggest that anyone other than Iwaasa was present when the vehicle was burned." Which, in my opinion, I'm not sure of. Because I think at that point, the police still thinks it's suicide. But I'll get back to that theory later. A new search began on June 24th, 2020, with 12 police officers from LPS and RCMP and and 15 search and rescue employees from Pemberton and Squamish. An RCMP fire investigator, private investigators, helicopter was used finally in June, along with a Canadian Search and Disaster Dog Association to do a ground search. This, on June 24th, is the first time the fire team was actually involved, as the RCMP failed to file a fire report when the truck was found back in November. They did not try to investigate the source or the timing of the fire. Yeah, so it's the private investigator hired by the family, obviously, that pushed for the fire investigation. But there was no evidence of arson, or so the family knows. Because another thing that's annoying with this case is that a lot of information has not been released either to the family nor to the public. But like, how frustrating it is. From November to June, this is the first time that they investigate the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like they could have found something if they looked in November.
That's like the first thing they should have done.
Bang. I mean, it was a fire. What do you mean you're not looking into it? Like, that's so weird. Okay. So on July 3rd, 2020, Marshal's family finally travels to BC for the first time to the spot where the truck was found, as they were not allowed to do it until the police had finished their search. The drive from Lethbridge to the spot in Pemberton took them over 30 hours. They got access to some 4x4 to get to the site because their car couldn't do it. I don't know what kind of car they have. And they went to do an underground search helped by a private investigator team who said that, and I quote, "If there has been a body up there, they would have found it, and their trained dogs would have found it." So, plus his family didn't believe that Marshall could have gone there alone or even actually been there at all. On August 8, 2020, his family releases the photos from November 23rd and the ones from November 25th to show the differences between the two. They also announced that they are sending a media release and a petition for Marshall's case to be deemed criminal. That's what I was talking about previously. I don't know if I said it before, but we'll link the petition in the description. I've signed it, and you could do it too if you want to help the family, because then they could dig deeper in the investigation. Another thing that is annoying with this case is that there is many routes that leads to Pemberton from Lethbridge. So which one would have he took? I'll also post a map of all the possible routes he could have taken, but I mean, this is such a wide range of terrain to cover. Like, so hard to find his trace there, and nobody seemed to have seen him between Lethbridge and Pembroke, because the family did call some gas station along the line and nobody saw him. But I mean, there's probably a good bunch. Like, that's a lot of road to cover. So yeah, as I'm saying about the gas, like, that's a lot of road, so you have to put gas in it, but there's no record of this. No camera footage was found. I don't know if a small gas station from God knows where BC has camera footage, but I mean, at least someone could have seen him. I don't know. And on top of that, Marshall's bank account was verified, and there was no activity since November 15, 2019. Maybe he paid cash if he was the one driving the truck. But was he? Was it someone else? Interestingly, about 6 months after his disappearance, the family sent messages to Marshall through Snapchat and the messages were opened. Now,
Why do people use this app?
was it him or was it just a glitch? Which is something we went through with Michaela's case, if you remember. If you guys haven't listened to it, it's our first episode. But yeah, was it him? Was it not him? I'll get back to that later. In 2023, Marshall's truck was moved from the spot it was found. It seems that it was moved by a citizen who had environmental concern of the truck being there in nature, which is super frustrating for the family as no forensic testing had been done on the truck.
What?
Nothing, because the case is not considered criminal, as I've said many times before. So this truck, which was the only evidence that we had, plus the items that were found, which the RCMP apparently has, but no test is done, no DNA testing, no forensic, nothing. So I'm sure there's some clues that were there. I'm sure that's impossible. There was not. Okay, so this is pretty much what we know about it. So let me go into some theories. These are just theories. Are they good? Are they not good? It's stuff that I found on the Facebook group or that I found on the internet, on YouTube and podcasts. Yeah, so let's take all of this with a grain of salt. Okay, so let's go back to the suicide theory. RCMP came up with this theory mainly because he didn't go back to college and he didn't tell his family, but his family doesn't believe that. It seems out of character, but also if you want to commit suicide, it's very unlikely that you will drive that long, like 14 hours.
To go do it?
To do so, because as Kat Lee, Marshall's cousin, said in an interview, you will be rethinking this during the drive, and maybe at some point you'll question yourself. But also, which is true, but also at the same time, if you really want to do it, maybe you would do it, but still, I feel like you would have some time to think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But also, let's say he wanted to commit suicide in a remote place like the place where his truck was found. He didn't have to drive that far. Alberta has many spots like that. For having lived there, I know it's pretty easy to find a spot where no one would be and not far at all from like the city. There's a lot of nature around there. Not that I was looking for a remote place. It's just that I've been to many places that there was like no one. I was just like, it was just my friends and I. So, yeah. It seems very unlikely theory to me also. But I mean, it seems that he was depressed or stressed about something. So, but I feel like it's a very big thing to drive that far, go that remote, and then burn your truck to do it. And where would he be? Where's the body? If that's what happened, where is it? That's weird. So that's a theory I'm not sure about. Yeah. So there's a growing community of online sleuths, which I said what it was, like online detectives, like just people like you and me trying to figure out, who have been trying to piece things together, analyzing road conditions, GPS dead zones, trail access, and timelines using maps and digital data. Some believe Marshall may have met someone online or was lured there. Other believes foul play was involved and that the truck was staged, which brings me to another theory, which is that maybe Marshall would have been involved in drug trafficking. That happens. There's like a corridor of like coke and drug trafficking between Lethbridge and Toronto, which I was not aware of because Let's be real, it's not my cup of tea. um, Seems like there's a lot of activities around drugs in like the oil plants. And since he worked in these plants, maybe he could have met with the wrong people. But there's no evidence to back that theory up. Or, and this is something I found in the Facebook group that the family started to bring awareness to him. Someone posted something about this, which I'm going to
Quote?
Yeah, I'm not going to quote. I'm just going to about this theory.
What you going to say about the theory?
Yes. Which it was a page of the Canadian Centre to End Human Trafficking. So there could be a connection between missing person and human trafficking, which kind of makes sense. There are several factors that make this a viable angle. Many missing persons, especially young adults, may unknowingly become victims of trafficking. Marshall, being a 26-year-old man, may have been vulnerable, especially if he encountered the wrong people while traveling. As I was saying it before, he did travel for work. And authorities don't often consider adult males as potential trafficking victims. It's mostly like women or younger girls that are more considered.
Targeted?
Yeah. But there's men too. Which, since they're not considered, this leads to critical delays or oversights in investigations. So human trafficking networks often operates along major transportation corridors. Given Marshall's route between Lethbridge, Calgary, BC, and possible connections to other cities since he was traveling, as I said, his disappearance may align with known trafficking patterns. Traffickers often target those going through transitions or periods of instabilities, and we know that he was unsure about school or whatever. So that's the type of profile he had. And trafficking victims are often moved quickly and hidden in plain sight, like you won't see him. So the burned out truck found in BC may have been a decoy or an effort to erase tracks. Maybe that's why it was so remote. Tactics consistent with organized trafficking operations, which honestly could make sense. And one thing, which maybe is far-fetched what I'm going to be saying, but one thing I learned from listening to true crime podcasts, and one that I have in mind, is an episode from, I think it was Victoria Charlton, who did an interview with a woman that I don't remember her name, unfortunately, who had been sex trafficked. And she said that her traffickers had her cell phone and they would text her family to let them, like, to show that she was okay. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm good. And it was the pimp or whatever that was texting. Now I know that's not the case in here, but let's say Marshall got caught in this, and what if the ones detaining him have his phone and are the one who opened the Snapchat message, like I said earlier? I know this is far-fetched, but I still feel like the human trafficking avenue is not that far-fetched though. One thing that I haven't mentioned yet is that Marshall is a really handsome guy. I'll show you the photos later and you guys can figure it out by yourself, but he was really, really handsome with like longer curly hair, and like a really nice face. And he was like built because he was doing training. So, I mean, that would make him a perfect target for sex trafficking.
Right.
Yeah. So that's one of the theories. Another one that I found while watching a YouTube videos, as usual, all the sources will be linked in the description. So if you want to check out all the things that I'm talking about during this episode, you can just click and listen. Is that theory is that maybe his disappearance is linked to other disappearance, because around 2018, 2019, there has been many disappearance of young men around 20 to 40 years old. And it's all a bunch of cases with not many clues. Some involves like cars being left in remote areas, some cars being burnt, not really knowing what happened. So would that be the work of the same person? Maybe we're looking at a serial killer, or it's a group of person. I don't know. That's all I have on this particular theory. Unless maybe another theory is that it could involve the police and they're trying to cover up for someone in the police.
What?
Like me, because I've listened to a case one time. It was a police officer in Laval who had killed a woman, and
Oh, he was trying to cover it up?
there was some sort of covering up. But the truth was unveiled at some point. But yeah, sometimes that happened. Or one thing that could be happening, and I know this has been the case for another true crime story that I can't remember. You guys do know that I listen to a lot of true crimes, and sometimes I don't remember which is which and what is what. Like, where did I listen to it, and who is the story from? I beg your pardon for that. But maybe finding him got a clue to the police about something bigger than him. And instead of following the lead of him, he was just used as uncovering more things. Like sex trafficking or drug trafficking, like a big...
So he knows something?
Big network. No, I'm saying that maybe like by investigating his thing, they have been finding other things. So he's just been like a tool into that to find the rest
of
like the network or whatever. And his case was just abandoned because, let's be real, we don't have that much fun in the police. Like, there's funds, but like, and then there's employees, but at some point, like, maybe you're gonna make it more priority of like a bigger case than that. So that could be one thing. So yeah, as I said, there is many theories. And a lot of them are by online sleuths. There's like a whole Reddit
post
thread about it. But yeah, officially, still the case is still considered a missing persons file. The RCMP had never reclassified it as a criminal investigation. Okay, so Marshal's appearance. Just, if you've seen him, if you heard anything, let's give you a portrait. At the time of his disappearance in 2019, Marshal Iwaasa was 26. He was 5'9" and he weighed around 170 pounds. He has brown eyes and a shoulder-length curly hair. He has big tattoos on his chest and arms. The day he disappeared, he wore black pants, a green hoodie, a gray beanie, and red high-top shoes. His truck, well, now we know the truck has been removed, but still, it was a dark blue 4-door 2009 GMC Sierra with the Alberta plate BLL 1099. So yeah, if you want to help, there's a Facebook page called Find Marshal Iwaasa. It will be in the description. There's updates posted there. There's also a FAQ Facebook page, so we'll link both. And as I mentioned earlier, there is a petition going on to get his case transferred to a criminal investigation. So please go sign it if you want to help. That's something that doesn't cost any money. There's also a GoFundMe page, which I will also link in the description. This the page is like archived, but I think you can still contribute, and the funds had mostly been used to hire private investigators and stuff like that to continue the research. So yeah, anything help, obviously. If you want to know more, there's many videos out there about him, as I was saying, and there's also a documentary on Paramount Plus, which is called Never Seen Again. Well, Never Seen Again is a show, but there's an episode on him. But I didn't watch it since we don't have Paramount Plus.
So, no, but we have a boat, and this boat can travel the 7 seas, if you know what I mean.
Yes. So maybe we'll watch it. Okay. Anyway, so if you or someone you know has any information, I beg you, please contact the Lethbridge Police at 403-328-4444 or Crime Stoppers online or by phone at 1-800-222-8477 or p3tips.com. We'll link everything in the description, and his case number is 190-30078. So, what do you think happened to Marshall?
I don't know. I think he just vanished. But, like, he has tattoos, and you're saying that people with tattoos with human trafficking are easy to find?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's not the most
logical theory.
Yeah. Unless, because I think his tattoos were kind of hidden. Let's say he had a hoodie on.
Right.
So maybe the person didn't know.
Does he have, like, tattoos on his arms?
I don't think.
Or is it just his chest?
I don't think there's any on his forearms. I think they're on his... He has big ones on his chest.
But that's so... I don't know anything about human trafficking because it's such a scary place.
Well...
I just don't know much about human trafficking. And, like, from what I do know, it doesn't sound like a good place, obviously.
No, because it can be, like, human trafficking, like...
Like sex?
Sex trafficking, but it can be darker stuff, too.
But, like, what? What are they going to use him for to, like...
It can be anything. It can be, like, sex trafficking here in Canada. They can send him to another country, or...
Is that easy to send someone to another country?
I think so. If you're used to doing it, I think it's pretty easy. You get false paper, put the person on the plane, and you go with that person, obviously. Now, that is one thing that I've learned when I was a flight attendant, is to keep an eye out for human trafficking.
So,
because
can you tell us what to look out for?
That's
where you're going?
Like, if you see, I don't know, like a younger girl or something with like an older person or like an older man, and they seem kind of like an odd pair, and like if the person, the girl doesn't seem too confident, she looks scared or whatever, like that kind of stuff. Like, you just go with your gut feeling in those things. Like, is this legit? Is it like a father and a daughter, or is it something darker? Like those kind of things. Like you I don't know exactly how to explain it, but you have to like check if there's anything that looks suspicious. Yeah.
Well, okay. In the year 2000, we celebrated Christmas in Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom stayed because of my grandma was in the hospital. So my mom wanted to stay longer to make sure that everything was okay. and we had to go back with my dad. And I remember we came back to Canada, and like like I guess I don't know, like custom agents, I guess, were asking if we knew this guy or whatever, and I was just like, yeah, like I was just because I don't know, I didn't like you. I was like, what, 12 or 14 or something? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know anything. Like I just got a PlayStation for Christmas, and that's the only thing I was like probably thinking about. Like, why are you asking me this question?
Yeah, I hear you. But yeah, when you're working in those field of work, you can see anything, so you gotta keep an eye out for anything suspicious because you're kind of like one of their chances of escaping. You
Right.
know. Um. So yeah, that was the story of Marshal Iwaasa. Personally, I don't know why I have a vibe that maybe he's still out there, but where and how, I don't know. Like one thing that I haven't mentioned in the theories is maybe he left on his own and decided to go rogue, like to
Oh,
start life elsewhere.
right. That could be, or I don't know. Here's a theory: is like maybe he wanted to go hiking, and I guess maybe he took a wrong turn, and he slipped and fell, and I don't know.
Yeah, that could happen. And maybe the truck thing is completely random, like some looters when they're looters?
Yeah, looters.
Yeah, went there and destroyed it. Like it could be like something completely.
Oh, random.
Yeah, so maybe he got. I mean, I feel like him getting lost is a possibility, but him succumbing to the
Is this
elements.
area like a bad area? Like you're saying the steering shaft got removed,
Yeah,
but why?
the steering column.
Did they ever find this column?
I don't think so. No. So like, did he go walking and then he ended up lost, and then maybe like he just um
Maybe my theory is garbage because it doesn't explain the car being set on fire. Or
no,
maybe
but
some
I
teeny boppers just came across it and decided to.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, dude.
Oh,
Like maybe it's two things not related. Maybe he went for a hike, God knows why. Um, because mind you, if we're like, did he sleep at all? Like, what was going on? Um, but um, maybe he went for a hike, got lost, took a wrong turn, as you were saying, hurt himself, and then he wasn't able to get out of there, and he passed. um then it would be hard to like locate him. I don't know exactly how extensive of a search they did of these mountains, but maybe they didn't find anything, or maybe like someone moved them or whatever, but that could be it. Or as I was saying, maybe he decided to start a new life elsewhere, and he
oh, torched this car.
maybe and decided to start new.
Maybe he sold the shaft or whatever the column.
Yeah, because this thing is pretty, it's worth like $1,500 or $3,000 or
But
something like that.
aren't all car parts like have like a serial number?
Yeah, but I don't.
Unless he sold it on like the black market or something.
Yeah, but I don't remember because I know I read something about it, but I'm not sure if the serial numbers were still visible or not on the car
Uh,
because of the fire.
so they're just like a sticker.
I don't know. I'm telling you, I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't really go deep into
Into that.
that, but yeah, maybe he wanted to start his life and not tell his family, but that also sounds really unlikely to me because as what from what I understood, he was really close with his family, and he was like he was best buddy with his sister. So why the hell would you do that? That sounds bizarre, but it's still possible. So there's many, many, many theories about him, what would have happened, but unfortunately, there's still no answers.
Right.
So if you know something or you heard anything, please talk. Please, please, please. Maybe you can save him, or at least bring answers to his family, who now it has been like 6 years that they don't know what's going on. So, yeah, thank you for. Did
Okay,
you have
hold.
more to say?
Yeah, the PlayStation and the Xbox.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to come back to that.
Yeah. So okay, they found it in the.
They found his Xbox and his PlayStation in his apartment,
Okay.
but there was the two other ones that were in his truck. So, whose PlayStation are these? We don't know, because they didn't do a criminal investigation and check his account to see, as you were saying, if they were linked with the PlayStation that the consoles that were at his home. One thing that one thing that I saw online is that maybe he was repairing it for someone. Someone was paying him to repair it, and that's why he had it in his car. Or maybe like you do sometimes, stuff like that. He ordered those on eBay or whatever to try to mod it or whatever, and that's why he had it in his truck, and like his family didn't know about it. Because let's be real, let's say you disappear tomorrow, will your mom know all the consoles you have? No.
Right.
She won't know the inventory. So I know, and all due respect to the family, that they say it's not his. I think maybe it could be his, or he just bought them, or like he just wanted to mod it or repair it for someone.
Right. I know you can mod a PS4, but not necessarily the Xbox One.
Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know anything, but I'm just trying to figure out why he would have had those. Or maybe he found them, like, I don't know, in a garage sale, or he found them by the side of the road, decided to grab them. Like,
Right.
it's, in my opinion, it's not that suspicious to have those consoles in your truck, but I don't know the guy, so I don't know.
So he went at the beginning. He tried to go to his locker thing like several times in the night.
Yeah.
But like, what for?
Yeah, that's the thing. What was he doing in there? Because his sister gave him things to drop in the storage. So one thing could be that he wanted, because like, mind you, it's 2 hours drive from Calgary to Lethbridge. So let's say he had his sister's stuff to drop off, then he would have gone there and wanted to drop it off. But like, one thing that really, like, it's either there was something really specific that he needed from there and he couldn't wait. But one thing that I can't wrap my brain around is like, if you realize that it's not opening, if it was me and my mom's house is around the corner, like half an hour away, I would have just gone back there.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know their relationship. Like, could he have gone there unattended? Like,
Was it even him?
yeah, that's where I'm going after. But like, let's say he realized that he can't open it, so he just goes to his mom. Like, could he just go inside his mom's house without announcing himself? Like, because for me, I can just go to my parents' house without telling that I'm coming. They're not gonna be like, "Oh, excuse me." But like, if she's sleeping, maybe he wasn't comfortable in doing it, so maybe he slept in his car waiting for the door to.
Yeah, but if he knows the hours, why would he try several hours?
Well, I don't know if he knew
Try
the
many
hours.
times in the night.
I don't know if he knew the hours. And mind you, his phone plan didn't work, so if he didn't have access to Wi-Fi, he couldn't check that. Now, I don't know if the hours are on the door.
Well, I mean, it seems more like a thing to do. like for the storage place to put it, like plastered it everywhere.
Yeah, I think so.
So if you don't, if
but-
you pull up at like 12:01, like middle of the night, then you know, like, hey, I'm not gonna get in here. Like, why would you keep trying?
Yeah, that's why I have a feeling that it was not him,
So you think it's someone
or
else?
or someone was hit with him, making him really want to go in there. But according to like his sister, there was not like anything like really important in there or value necessarily like of much value. So what the hell did someone want from there? You know, it's really weird for me. That part of the story is really weird. That and the fact that the car was found hell of a drive away
Right.
from where
Right.
he was first. So yeah, it's
I
this.
think there's a lot of questions with no answers.
Yes, there is a lot, which is really frustrating with this case. And I don't know why. I just like I started reading on this case, and I was like I have to do it. I have to do it because like I don't know why I felt like not connected to the story, but like
Sometimes you tell me these stories, and like I'll just be minding my own business in life. Like I'm at the grocery store, and I just like look at someone, and I'd be like, how, like, or I'll just like look around, and I'll be like, how does anyone just vanish?
yeah, I know.
Like, how do you just vanish? I don't know. Anyways,
I hear you. I hear you. Thank you so much for listening to this story. I hope you enjoyed it, even though it's extremely frustrating in my opinion. I have like my heart goes to the family and to him, obviously, if he's still out there, like keep on keeping on, like don't lâche pas la patate, comme on dit en français. Hold on.
hold on to your potatoes.
Anyway, yeah, so thank you a lot for listening. I hope I covered it as best that I could because there's a lot of information out there. So yeah, thank you for listening. If you liked it, this particular episode, please share it as much as you can because I think the more people know about the story, the more maybe we'll figure out what happened to him. So don't hesitate to share it. Sign the petition, as I said. Join the Facebook group because there's a bunch of people there talking about stuff that might have happened or whatever, sharing memories. So yeah, thank you for listening. So don't hesitate to give us a review wherever you're listening. Follow us on Instagram, on TikTok. We have to get on TikTok a little bit more. On Facebook. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, comment, anything. If there's a case you would like us to cover, don't hesitate to reach out. We're super open.
Yeah, we take requests.
We do. So don't hesitate to let us know. And we'll talk to you guys in 2 weeks for our next episode. Be safe. Stay alert.
What's it? What's the thing in Friends? Nugagi or whatever.
Unagi.
Yeah, unagi. Do your unagi.
if you watch Friends, you'll know the reference. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.